A very good morning to you. Welcome to the Morning Brief right here on Channels Television. 29 or 28 days actually in the month of August. We're coasting to the end of the year just like that. Anyway, our job is to bring you up to speed with what's happening in the country and outside the country when necessary. I'm Jeffrey Uzama.
And I'm Kayode Okikili. We're live for you here in Lagos. And yes, indeed, what a week it has been. This week alone, Nigeria had to grapple with train derailment on the Abuja-Kaduna route. And of course, we're also looking at figures of, kidnappings and ransom payments. So it's a big day today on the show where we'll walk through some of these big stories that are unfolding. But Jeffrey, this one caught a lot of people's attention. The APC saying that, well, we have not foreclosed just yet. Fine, we have endorsed President Bola Tinubu. Majority of the leaders in the party have endorsed President Bola Tinubu, but our ticket is still open to all. That's what the National Organizing Secretary of the All Progressives Congress said yesterday. But hey, take a listen to him first.
By the grace of Allah Almighty and through the commitment of our leaders, members of and the supporters of our party nationwide, the All Progressive Congress emerged victorious in 13 constituencies out of the 16 constituencies that were contested. You see, there is no dictation or dictatorship in democracy, but the aspiration of the people will be the wish of the party. And it is the wish of the party. We, as leaders of the party today, the NWC, have endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, as the next presidential candidate of the party. And by extension, other organs have done similar thing. Governors in most of the states, zones in most of the 6 political zones have also adopted same. But that does not mean that the door is closed. That does not mean that when time comes, like we did always, we'll make our timetable known so that for anybody who wants to aspire to be the next president of this country, under the platform of All Progressive Congress, we will not deny him that opportunity to come and purchase form. We will allow him to come and pay so that he can exercise his franchise as a member of the All Progressive Congress.
Yes, you heard that the people even in that hall chuckled when he was speaking. Because on the one hand, you confirm that you have endorsed, everybody has endorsed President Tinubu for a second term. And on the other, with the same mouth, you say that, oh, it is still open for people who want to buy forms. I mean, in 2022, Jeffrey, the expression of interest and nomination forms was 100 million naira. If we adjust for inflation and all of those things, I doubt it will be 100 million naira at this time. So who will, in their right sense, go to still purchase the nomination forms and expression of interest from for 100 million plus when you know that it is literally just pouring water into a basket? So I don't know, was it meant to make us chuckle? Because we did chuckle at the end of the day, but honestly, I think this is just, I don't know what to describe it as, Jeffrey. Maybe you help me this morning.
The National Secretary is just trying to gaslight Nigerians and party members. They know it's just a joke. You're taking too far. Maybe around the law, he may be correct, because there are 3 ways you get candidates for your parties, either by direct or indirect primaries, which has not happened, or by consensus, which has to be confirmed. So to that extent, yes. But given all that is playing out in the polity, they should stop just wasting our time and making some of these rhetorics. It's not that nobody is saying they have broken any law or not broken any law as far as this is concerned. It's party people deciding what they want to do. As I said, around the law, it may be safe, but speaking plainly, he knows what he's saying is not true. He's just gaslighting Nigerians. The president has been endorsed for a second term. Certainly is going to run, at least to the best of our knowledge. So coming to do this is just playing to the gallery. Perhaps it's an offshoot of what's played out when the PDP finally said, okay, we made a mistake in 2022 by keeping this thing open, and it upsets what is the unwritten agreement between rotation of power. now that the PDP has finally said, okay, we learned our lesson in 2022. So, South, we will allow you to run this thing in 2023. And some northern elements are saying, no, this is not right, and all of that. So perhaps that has triggered this response. But this is just trying to gaslight the public. He knows he's lying. He knows he's not saying the truth. He knows he's just saying something just to pacify the polity and all of that. Who is going to, I totally agree with you, who is going to, you want me to go and spend 200 million, 100 million, go and buy form to contest against Bola Tinubu? The odds were against him in 2022, and he beat everybody silly. Is it now that he has all this endorsement within the party? They should look for another thing to say. It's a waste of our time.
But it's just a reminder as to what politics is a lot of times. It's theatrics.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think a lot of people need to understand that a lot of the times when politicians come out to speak, it is theatrics. Yeah. Sadly, politics is like 80% theatrics and just 20%
optics.
And optics.
Even democracy itself is about
exactly,
optics.
And just 20% the real work. So some of these things they just say that. I remember the late former governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, had a conversation with him, and we said, you said this thing. Did you mean what you said? And he said, my friends, these things we say are just political gunshots. They don't kill nobody. He just said that, and
great Aketi.
Exactly, he just said that and try to explain to people that some of these things we say during campaigns and say it is just political gunshots that don't kill nobody. So for Nigerians, do not take this too seriously, all right? Because we already know where the APC is headed, even though they say they're not headed there. We are already waiting for you there. We just want to know how much the form will be, because some group in the Southeast, Jeffrey, they've actually kept money aside to purchase the form for President Bola Tinubu when he is ready. So that aside, let's talk about the deputy governor in Taraba State.
Yeah, just to say, in addition to that, the man knows that what he's saying is not true. Even himself, he didn't believe what he was saying.
Chuckled when he
knows
said
that. He's not saying, himself, he didn't believe what was coming out of his mouth. Please go ahead.
Politics for you. But in Taraba State, the deputy governor, Mr. Aminu Alkali, has resumed office. But in case you're wondering, why is this important? Well, he's been away for 9 months, since November 2024, on medical grounds. So this video clip was made available to Channels Television, and it shows him seated in his office, cross-checking what appears to be files, with some of his aides present to welcome him back to work. This is particularly important because, on the one hand, the governor had appointed, or at least asked, someone to step in his place. That's the Deputy Chief of Staff, Emmanuel Lawson, to oversee the officer's responsibility in his absence. And this move sparked controversies. But guess what? Then this video emerges showing the Deputy Governor back in office. The government had confirmed that he suffered a stroke and he was taken abroad, I believe, to Egypt, and then to be treated, of course. So it took a while for him to return, but of course we heard about this appointment and he returns to office. So he's back. We do hope that he's better now, ready to take on the task of governance. Jeffrey.
We welcome him back. We're happy he's in good health because nobody knows tomorrow. Anybody can fall sick. So when it comes to the issue of health, you really can't say this or the other. But the good thing is that he's not a governor, where there have been a lot of furore as far as being absent is concerned. In fact, technically, a deputy governor almost serves at the pleasure of the governor. There are certain constitutional responsibilities given to him, of course. But on the other hand, it is when the governor is absent. So, for instance, if it was the governor that was absent, he would have handed over power to him to run there. But since he's not present, I'm not sure what the law says. The most important thing for me is that he's back. I hope that he's in perfect state of health to carry out the responsibility that he's carried out. Because, with Nigerian politicians, sometimes even when the body is telling them, you may have the heart, you may have the mind, you may have everything necessary to govern or run the affairs of state, but your body doesn't support you. Some of them would rather die in office than continue. But for me, it's neither here nor there. The man was sick, he's back, and we're grateful that he's back. And congratulations to him to carry on from where he stopped, as far as this is concerned. Okay. We have a lot to discuss today. Elections are coming up in Rivers State and local government elections, but it's sitting on a lot of legal issues as far as that is concerned. But today is not the day to discuss it. Why I'm concerned with that election, because from the argument about the ultra-vires decision of the president to suspend the elected officials, the sole administrator that is not known to law, who is carrying out decisions that are not known to law, and then eventually is going to organize a local government election. And I'm wondering, for part of the local government laws of Rivers State that has to do with the governor, how are they going to walk around the landmines of that in the law? This same Rivers State was the place where elections were cancelled simply because Section 150 Electoral Act, Section 151 and 3, especially 1 and 3, was very clear that the same way you conduct election in the FCT, which is, if you look at the law, Section 98 all the way to, I think, Section 10, about 114 or so, talked about how elections are supposed to be conducted at local government level. Things around publication of the date of election, things around the date between when the incumbent leaves and when elections are supposed to be conducted, which was violated in the Lagos State local government election and is a subject of litigation right now. Several other things. That election was cancelled, and now we're seeing the same Rivers State working against that particular judgment, in my view, because it's very clear. Even INEC complained about it, 30 days or 21 days to election. I don't understand what you're doing. But they want to hold the election nonetheless. I even saw one document carried that they said the president amended local government, whatever, gazetted or something. I don't know whether the president has such powers. That's on one hand. Two, whether he can do it at the National Assembly. We tried to verify from our sources. I couldn't see any source that confirmed that it was really originated from that level of power. So what I'm saying here is the fact that politicians can do the shenanigans they do for whatever reason they do, but do it around the rule of law. Perhaps the agreement may have been that with Fubara, the governor suspended, and yes, on Wike, the FCT minister will be, let's allow the local government to be controlled by the political godfather. Yes, you can do that, there's no problem, but do it around the law. Everything that is going on with the Rivers State local government election is sitting on a lot of breaches of the law. And the problem here is that we're building blocks for a dangerous tomorrow. So some of us who understand a few of these things, we're saying now, you can do your politics, but do your politics around the law. Local government election is not even an emergency, so why the hurry in the first place? Anyway, we'll talk about it some other time.
Certainly. The ADC took this matter to court. The Federal High Court in Port Harcourt is expected to rule tomorrow, Friday. So we'll see if there will be a surprise springing up. But guess what? We're turning our attention now to how the front pages report all of the big stories across the country and even beyond. I'll have Mr. Wale Fatade join us in a moment. Stay with us. Mr. Wale Fatade, journalist in the ED Media Support Center, joins us this morning. It's always good to have you, Mr. Fatade. You're welcome.
Good morning. That was my last position. I'm currently with the Conversation Africa as commissioning editor.
Thank you very much.
Don't let my employers think I've resigned.
So there you have it. That is the freshest of it. So good to have you.
Thank you.
Quite a number of issues we had discussed before you came up.
Yeah, I watched some, and at the point I was chuckling and I was laughing. I think you were not fair to our theater artist friends by saying politics is theatrics. At least in theater, you have a script, you have a denouement, and you have a plot, and you will know whether it's comedy or it's action or it's romance or it's romantic comedy. So those are serious things, not what our politicians are doing. Don't elevate it to the level of theatrics.
Ooh, so what would you call it?
It's lower. I don't have the word yet, but it's not. I just know it's not theater. Because theater is serious business.
There you go. Shots fired, Mr. Fatade. We've not even gotten to the front page yet.
I know theater is serious business.
So let's go over.
Otherwise, how would somebody drop 150 million in the ocean now? As I was driving here on the radio station, that was exactly what the presenter said. They're factoring inflation. That ticket should go for 150 million minimum. If I have that, I won't wake up this morning.
Okay, so New Telegraph newspaper is first, and it also leads with that story on 2027. Presidential ticket still open to all, despite endorsing Tinubu, says APC. That's the New Telegraph newspaper's big story this morning. Yes, we had showed you earlier on the National Organizing Secretary of the party speaking to that effect. You see, party celebrates by-election victory, says ruling party Democratic will give others opportunity to express themselves. Since Mr. Fatadi has spoken about this, let's talk about elections, which is just below the big story, and it's on electoral reforms. Establish Office of Registrar of Political Parties. That's coming from former President Goodluck Jonathan. Says he'll combat party indiscipline, suggests independent screening of INEC chair before appointment, condemns incessant party defections. On the one hand, a lot of people were looking to hear what Mr. Jonathan, Dr. Jonathan this time around, will say about all of the talk and rumors around whether he'll run.
Yeah, I think he spoke. It's in the news today. Maybe we'll get to that.
I'm saying to confirm it.
No,
That's what
he
a lot
said
of
he's
people are saying.
consulting with his people,
So,
as usual.
so he then goes ahead to make this comment.
Yeah.
So do you separate this comment from the consultation?
Oh, yeah, I should think so.
So what do you make of this?
Of the comment or
Yeah.
his consultation?
Both of them.
Okay, I'll start from the consultation. And about 2 or 3 times then I was supposed to meet with President Jonathan. And then I was with Next newspaper, that's now defunct. And he was really at the briefing. He didn't attend to. The other one was a private meeting, which I missed. And I have a sort of fondness for him. Yeah, and that's personal. Nothing beneficial pecuniary. I think he should not fall for the gambit. He should stay away. That's all. For me, if I was talking to him the way I'm talking to you, I think it would be best for him. He's earned the right to statesmanship. He's earned the right to the tag elder statesman, truly. With that, his immortal statement of my ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. I think he should just stay away. That's all for me. But on this kind of consultation, I was talking with a friend of mine who's serving currently as resident electoral commissioner. And we published an article in the conversation setting an agenda for the next INEC chair, because that was the time there was this news going around that government, president has named somebody or not. And he asked me a question. He said, because that article touched on the mode of appointment of electoral chair. And I'm sure you know, for instance, a country like Kenya, the central bank governor, the chief justice, and the electoral chair, they are publicly advertised position that you apply for. It's done in the newspaper, and they have done that for about 2 times for those 3 different offices. And my friend told me something. He said, look, for the position he is occupying currently now, he didn't emerge alone, that he was nominated, the DSS screened him, the National Intelligence Agency screened him, the National Assembly actually supported or ratified his nomination. He said, so if he were not fit, what happened to the security screening? And he said it's a plethora of security agencies that screened them. What happened to the National Assembly screening? I said, what? And I didn't agree with him, but I saw sense in what he was saying, that it's not just President Kayode appointing Dr. Jeffrey as a resident electoral commissioner or INEC chair. Other organs, other bodies of the state are involved in confirming Dr. Jeffrey, whether it's INEC chair or not. So if they don't do their job, are we sure that if we don't advertise publicly, they will still do their job? And so it shows us about the kind of the people we are. That's all. So if the National Assembly or the Senate now ratifies the appointment of Professor Jeffrey, and we know that Professor Jeffrey is not competent or is morally bankrupt, who do we blame for that? So when the National Assembly's oversight is lacking, when the security agency's security reports have been doctored, what do we do? And so if we now advertised and Professor Wale emerges, are we sure those things will not still happen? So that's why when President Jonathan is asking for a register of political parties, I just wonder. And I think, if you remember, I said it maybe the last but one or the other time I was here, that political parties are just political parties by paper going now. Name merely. We at the First Republic, we are political parties that were political parties. So also the Second Republic. What happened? And there were no registered political parties that time. What happened? The question you ask now, when people will say, on your Monday we shall stand, do you have a membership card? Do you pay your party dues? How are we funding our political parties? And you know, when I see even some of our colleagues, they only justifying that manifesto is just manifesto, you are not guided by that. I'll be like, and so we have been lied to. So on what basis are you running the office that you campaign for? Whether you are ADC or you are ABC or you are AFJ or JFK or whatever, on what basis, when your manifesto that you actually publish to us as a covenant between you and Nigerians or voters in that particular state, you disown it after election? So we are wondering, why would political parties not be weak, whereby a governor, I mean, a video emerged recently, last week, of a former governor asking House of Assembly members to sit on the floor. And I was telling my son that, look, he was curious about that. And I was telling him that, look, all of them nearly, if not all, emerged through his own power. We have had a state, my home state of Osun, years back, under Governor Aregbesola, who prevailed, who said they should allow House of Assembly members to emerge, those that have served, because people were waiting to vote them out at primary. He said, no, just do this for me. So, what are we saying? So when your emergence is faulty, and we are now expecting oversight function, I mean, there was a governor, Benue State governor, and I think I watched it on your show, whether yesterday or the day before, who the gentleman House of Assembly spokesman was trying to defend the governor sitting at the election, voting in a speaker.
Yeah, I remember that conversation. Yeah. I was having that conversation with him, and I don't know whether I knew when that came out of his mouth.
Yeah, you know, I mean, not because what is here. You guys did a brilliant job. In the art of interviews, to make your guests say what they didn't want to say.
I don't know.
That's all. I mean, and so where are we? When we now look at, you know, that Yoruba classic saying that the lame, he said your load is convoluted. He said, no, you stop looking at the top, start from the bottom.
There's a lot.
No, sincerely. So you wonder, where do we start from?
Yeah,
and so with due respect to President Jonathan, register of political party is not what we need now. We need a real.
We can even in fact, it looks like all the institutions, because these are institutions. We can't run away.
So when we have weak institutions, we just must have weak politics.
We need to keep speaking out so that the institutions will be built. So, for instance, the issue of I don't know why my mind is always going to Rivers State today, whether it is because there's an election. The state of emergency that the PDP governors took to the Supreme Court. We've not heard anything till today.
So
till today.
Look at what is playing out in the United States.
Where
the Supreme Court,
once and for all.
The Supreme Court is quick in giving judgment. Yes. Why can't we have that there? So we don't have full complement of judges in Supreme Court. They are overloaded. They are overworked. And so
at the end of the day, something as serious as removing state assembly members and a governor by a president, which is not the first time that has happened.
We didn't follow the law explicitly.
Yeah, there was an evasion of it, and now it looks like this situation. So even they are getting the flags, because there are only 4 ways I know a governor can go: resign, your tenure ends, or death, or literally being impeached. Outside those 4, I don't know any other way. So that's why people are saying the president acted out of his powers. Supreme Court, help us solve this once.
But we have even other instances whereby judgments have been given and judgments are not followed.
Okay, that's a different kettle of fish. I didn't want to go. We're just trying to look at all the issues you're raising as an appendage. But let's go to the Vanguard newspaper. 2027 presidency, zoning causes rumpus. PDP intensifies move to woo Jonathan. I know you've commented on this, but now we are bringing it to your table yet again. Ex-president still consulting sources. PDP zoning decision won't stand. Laipo Hashim, zoning presidency to South, not to glorify Wike PDP. A sacrifice for unity, Bala Mohammed. Just to
our brother Agbenga is interested in contesting, so that's why, and he's from Kwara, that's not central. That's why he's saying that zoning will not stand. Let's see how it plays out. Politics is the minority will have your say, but the majority will have their way. So I think, even though to what purpose and intent, the zoning of PDP's presidency to South will achieve, nobody knows. Because the reality is that the current president is formidable. So I hope they will really be able to fight him. I wish them all the best.
That's a very pregnant one.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So from there, the Vanguard, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. And the Guardian today didn't follow the pack. Yeah, I think 2 days ago, the Guardian made an exception and went the way of politics. But today, the Guardian rather, is back, and it talks about corrections and penal reforms. How winning funding, legal aid, keep 53,460 pre-trial inmates in jail. There's a breakdown. Out of 81,000 total inmates in Nigerian correctional facilities, 53+ thousand persons are awaiting trial. Lack of regular visits to correctional centers to assess the circumstances of the detention of indigent citizens awaiting trial by industry-specific NGOs, MBA, and the judiciary compounds the issues. And there's a lot more breakdown to this matter. You know, this is a sector, if I can use that word, that we forget a lot.
Yeah, we really shine the light on them.
Until there's a prison break.
Prison break, or there's a disaster that happened, or
exactly.
a natural disaster.
So how important is this? Because once people are, in quote, thrown in jail or correctional facilities, either after a trial or even before trial, their matter is foreclosed.
Many people are in jail, and this actually played out on Monday. There was a story about the correctional center in our dear Ibadan Agodi, which has been on for many years. And if I got correctly, because it was Yoruba news, so it was, I speak Yoruba though, and I think maybe about 500 is actually the capacity, and it was about maybe 5,000 or whatever that were kept in that correction center. I think the criminal justice is dead in Nigeria. So perhaps Lagos State alone is the one that have actually done some reforms for its criminal justice administration. There have been, you know, we have a law reform commission actually. So you wonder what exactly are they doing? The dockets are overfilled, not just filled. And there is this issue of the police being the prosecutor of some cases, whereby you have a directorate of public prosecution. So how do we marry that? We have not done that in Nigeria. The other one is the lawyers are overworked. I mean, the judges are overworked. And you just arrest people, you dump them on the correction center. And the officers there, they have no choice but to accept people. Why can't we fast-track justice? Now, Lagos State, again, has done some reforms in kind of, you have family courts now. I covered the court system in New York. And I was shocked that there is a family court, there is divorce court, there is business court.
All specialized.
All specialized courts. South Africa actually has a constitutional court. And I think Kenya too does. So why can't we have that too? Maybe that will reduce the burden. But then we need to retool our police force. The investigation or criminal investigation is dead. Forensic laboratories, I'm not sure they are working. Now, justice administration has gone to level of forensic linguistics. Not just forensic laboratory alone. There are linguists that are trained in criminal investigation that can use your pattern of speech to identify whether you are a criminal or not. So, do you see how, I don't know until you have an issue with the police, do you know how they investigate up to now? Can they keep evidence? Can they keep, if you go on a crime scene, do they even know how to mark the one we watch on criminals, crime scene investigation? Are we at that level? So you now find out that what is the cause for the laughter here? You now find out that they arrest somebody and they just dump him there because they don't have the tools to investigate. And then we have not spoken about corruption now. The endemic corruption in the system.
In that system. You touched on a nerve. That's why. And it's sort of shameful. Sometimes you want us to step back. I just imagine, can we just take a pause and try to figure out what do we want for ourselves? It's almost like we're just...
As a country or
as a country, as a people...
We have not agreed on that.
Exactly.
So we don't know. So we keep on going in circles.
And we continue that same, that cycle, vicious cycle. Because once you were talking about overcrowding in our correctional centers, it reminded me of overcrowding in tertiary institutions, the hostels.
Don't talk about that. I was at 2 federal universities over the weekend, and I cried.
Rooms meant for 2 people. You have 4+ people.
I think in April, I visited my old Independence or University of Ibadan, where I had a wonderful time. And I visited with a friend of mine who were roommates. He's a professor in the same school now. And we went to one of our rooms, and we found out that the room has not changed. We left the University of Ibadan now over 3 decades ago. I cried, literally. And I found out that the little renovations that you have had there is actually being done by those of us alone. All the green areas, nearly all the green areas that were there before, they have been concretized, they have been built up because they want to generate money. And I stepped down. I was with another family member of mine, my cousin actually, a professor too in the same school, he's a all-worthy. And I asked them that you people are in medical line, can you guarantee to me that a normal person will come out of this environment? So an average undergrad in Nigeria is traumatized.
So, you're even talking about the rooms. What about the convenience?
Oh, you don't go there.
I saw things that
you don't go there.
They almost destroyed my
You don't go there. So those are issues.
We'll go to the
and I'm sure we'll get there today. When you see ASU calling for strike or whatever, you would think that these guys are just spoilers. But there are some serious issues.
Okay, let's get to this Nigeria as we're going to wind down. It leads with something different. 41 billion external reserves. Goodies should reflect more on Nigerians. Economic experts make case for enhanced welfare for all in wake of alleged rise in nation's reserve revenue. I listened to the CBN governor who was, I think he was very smart in his comments and very measured when the issue of reserve. You know, politicians and the political class, for the ruling party, when the reserve is good, it's a political conversation, it's a success story. For the opposition,
the question to be answered is, what does reserves do?
So when it goes down, it's a case for the opposition. So I like the way he spoke about it. Let's not be too excited about it. You need to understand what reserve is.
That's what is it meant for? What is it meant for? It's not like Jeffrey's or Wally's reserve that if you are low on cash, you can just say, please let me use that bank today. No, that's not it. So when you play politics with the economy, that's what we get. And it draws me back to Dr. Okonjo-Iweala's statement when she said the economy has stabilized. It does not mean the economy has gone better. What it means is that the rates are stable. So those of you in forecasting or in planning, you can plan. That's all. Because in the same interview, she actually said they alleviate the suffering of the poor. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because at the end of stability, what they've achieved is stability. For instance,
when they say your vitals are stable in medicine, it just means it has stabilized. It does not mean that you are better.
The currency is stable, the interest rate is high. So for those who do carry trading, you get maybe $10,000 from America, and 5% interest.
You can make projections.
You come and buy TBL in Nigeria, you can make 1,300. Pay your interest, adjust it around.
So that's what you do by the economy is stable. It doesn't mean the economy has gone better.
That's another conversation. Mr. Father, always a delight to have you.
Thank you very much.
Just to mention, the Nigerian News Direct leaves with 2027 yet again, but a different slant to this. ADC leadership tussle deepens as nephew Bala rejects Mark Aregbesola takeover. Insists party constitution empowers him to lead. Northeast ADC caucus backs deputy national chair as acting leader. I mean, the ADC...
they don't get them.
They don't get them. Well, that's pidgin, right? They've gotten them.
Oh, it means that they caught them. Because I thought they had tied all these
loose
ends before. Thank you. I was searching for that one, but apparently not so. So you see, one former military president told us, we're not just in office, we're in power.
That's a very, very powerful statement. You know,
Akbabi will say, what money can do, more money can. What money can do, more money can do. What more money cannot do. What more money cannot do, the eagle will do. The eagle is a seat where you sit on.
Well,
so I totally agree with that statement.
We're hoping the coalition won't turn to a collision now in that sense.
Let's hope that the plane is not aborted before takeoff. I mean, the flight is not aborted before takeoff.
But they will tell you it's still early days.
See, these are spoilers, right?
Definitely. And these are people playing out script or agenda. That's all. It can't just be, where were they before now?
Exactly.
We're back to where we started, Mr. Fatade. You said they have a script now, so we can elevate it to theater.
Yeah, if there is a script for this one now, that's theater.
You see?
Yeah, this is theater.
So it's
theater. Hollywood is contributing to the economy, so this is theater, and I love theater though. So, but this is theatrical.
We've come full circle, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Fatade, it is always a pleasure to have you discussing the very, very tough issues. He's a journalist and commissioning editor of The Conversation Africa. Mr. Wale Fatade, do have a great day ahead.
And you too. Thank you.
We'll take a moment now on the show. When we return, there are figures that have just been released about kidnapping for ransom in Nigeria. It's a very interesting dynamic, and we're approaching this from, a solutions journalism perspective. We're going to speak with the major stakeholders, even a victim, on the show today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Boggling figures as far as the issue of kidnapping is concerned. Of course, you know, Nigeria as a state doesn't support paying ransom, but it happens. And those numbers are out there, even though they happened undercover, where people are paying through their nose, as they would like to say it, selling property just to get their loved ones out of kidnappers' den. But some people have done some great work in looking at the economy of kidnapping. As disturbing as that sounds, is a reality. That is how these people are funded, which is why government frowns at it. But beyond frowning at it, something has to be done for it not to even happen in the first place. The prevalence is across the country, and that's why we're having this conversation. So as far as the issue of kidnapping and paying ransom is concerned, today on the program, we're doing two things. We'll speak with the experts who curated these numbers, tech persons who understand how to use technology to mitigate, and a victim who himself was incarcerated is a right word, was in kidnappers' den for over 50 days. Let's bring in our first set of guests on the program. Chetan Wanze is a partner at SBM Intelligence, and Mr. Udwak Ekbo Ufot is a telecoms expert and a member of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. But today he wears the cap of somebody who understands the tech space. Let's come to you, Mr. Wanze. Thank you so much for coming on the program, gentlemen.
Thank you. Good morning.
Mr. Wanze, what I would like to always do when we have conversations like this, because perhaps our producer will be able to show some of the numbers. When I saw the figures that people had paid for ransom across the geopolitical zone, that's a running economy on its own. And so I totally agree to the extent that this is an economy in itself, as dark as it is. So first, how did you come about this figure? And how, just explain to us, maybe a few highlights that are very disturbing, and then we can build from that.
Okay, thank you very much. I think first things first, I want to point out that we've been doing this report for 5 years now. The first one was in 2020. And what we do is, over the course of the year, we run something we call a security tracker. So we collate figures, we hear of incidents, we monitor as much as we can find, both incidents reported in the media, incidents we hear of, and we use a 3-step verification system. So if an incident is reported in 3 or more places, then we log it as true. If an incident is reported in only one place, especially if it's just on social media, we log it as doubtful. So those incidents do not make the report. But basically, it's monitoring chatter, traffic, whether it is on social media, whether it is in the news, and that's how we come about the figures.
So let's speak to a few things, a few highlights here. I'm looking at the states, number of people kidnapped by states. Zamfara leads for 1,200 plus, Kaduna 629, Katsina 566, Sokoto you have 358, in fact, northern region, Niger, Borno. But what I'm interested in most is the figure here. I'm trying to get back to that particular part of the data where you talked about in terms of geopolitical distribution. Talk to us about those numbers. Some are as high as billions of naira in, I guess, the first quarter of 2025 alone.
So the Northwest is clearly the epicenter. We have 43% of all the incidents, and 62% of all victims are from the Northwest. I think it's important to point out that the figures in terms of naira figures are figures that we could verify. It's one thing that we're always at pains to say each time we publish these reports, and this is, like I said, this is the 5th year now, is the fact that it's clearly an undercount. In many cases, and I think that's very unfortunate, in many cases, I would say in most cases, people do not want to tell how much they paid. What we get to hear more often than not is how much was demanded, but not how much was actually paid. Some people will claim that they didn't pay, but later on, but in many cases, unfortunately, the police who would claim that nothing was paid as ransom. But then you would now hear from the people who were involved that, oh, something was indeed paid. And I would give an example. There was an incident in Abuja earlier in the year, a staff of the NUC whose family was kidnapped, and then the police later came out and said that, oh, that they released the surviving members of the family because sadly one of the members of the family was killed. But later on, we heard from staff of the NUC that, oh, that they collected a total of 30 million naira and delivered in bags to the kidnappers then. So it's definitely an undercount. But having said that, what I would like to draw out is a trend analysis starting from at least 2022. What we have seen is a sharp increase in the amounts demanded. Basically from 2023, the period of 2023, because it's a half-year thing that we do, basically July to June. So from 2023, we had 5 billion demanded. By the 2024 report, we had 10.9 billion demanded, and then this year, for this year's report, we had 48 billion demanded. What we're able to verify in terms of payments has also gone up. So from 302 million to 1.04 billion, and now to 2.57 billion. So clearly, this business, if we're to call it that, and I think that's an unfortunate way to classify something like this, is getting a bit more lucrative, and that is a tragedy.
It's a big tragedy. I was looking at the numbers. I finally got to the numbers that were shown on the screen. 775 million naira. Borno leads with that. And then places like Delta, surprisingly, 227 million. And the list goes on. It's right there on your screen for our audience to check it out by SBM Intelligence, how people are spending money. And this has become more like a situation of a dark economy in that sense. Let's bring in Udwak, who is very vast in technology, although now he's in politics and a member of the assembly. Udwak, when you hear these numbers and see these figures, as somebody who has played big in technology, why that is important? Because technology is not just for connectivity and for business, it's also for national security. I'm sure you squirm. What do you make of it?
Yeah, so the numbers, for me are boggling. If you consider the total demands of 48 billion vis-a-vis Nigeria's GDP of 372 trillion naira for 2025, that amounts to 0.01, percent of the Nigeria kidnap industry. I mean, it's a very sad figure because in Q3 2024, the textile and apparel industry saw 0.23% growth. My concern is, should we wait as a country till it hits 1% before something drastic is done? I mean, this guy's request for the ransom in cash, yeah? For me, with the little I know from my telco experience, I mean, we should just stop sale of SIM cards for 1 year, and then this will reduce the number of people that have access to lines that they can use to make these ransom demands.
Right. So first one, stop sale of SIM cards. But another issue people have raised time and again is when these kidnappings happen, right? The victims and the abductors go to a certain location. They make calls from those locations. They use the internet. They monitor the internet because a lot of times you see these, you hear these kidnappers check even the profile of the victims to see, oh, who are you? Oh, this is who you are online, right? And you hear all sorts of things they do online with the phones. So people ask time and again, why is it so difficult to pinpoint where they're at in the first place and say, oh, we know where they are? Because, I mean, they see how easy it is for the police, for example, to a lot of times find out people who put out tweets against certain people and all of that. So they wonder, can't we do that for the kidnappers as well, such that we can then conduct an operation or not to rescue these victims? So from your tech experience and comms experience, why do you think that is such a difficult thing to do?
Yes, so in the telecom space, yeah, and the tech space, basis, terms like geolocation and triangulation, it's possible to specifically pinpoint a mobile device within a triangular point. That's like triangulation, yeah? Now, the willpower the wherewithal to actually go and apprehend the kidnappers is mostly the issue in most cases, yeah? It's possible to achieve this. I'll just stop at saying that the security operatives have these equipments, yeah? But I'll attribute it to willpower. Then it's a very selfish space that we live in, very selfish world there. People are concerned about, how do I save my loved one? So they would rather relate with the kidnapper than cooperate with the security agencies. This in itself is a bigger issue, But yes, it's very possible.
Let me go to Mr. Nwanze, and I mean, he just spoke about the percentage of, the money demanded in terms of our GDP in that sense, and it really ties to what you try to also achieve with that report, saying that, this is money that could have been available for investment, money that could have been used for good in that sense, but you see people paying for ransom, and in fact, you said that this is interwoven into our economy, sadly. So speak to us first about what this means, because now it is no more a sporadic act, as you said. It is now like an established venture, a sub-economy in that sense. So have you been able to maybe break it down into how this sector works? Who are the kingpins in that sense? Who are the foot soldiers? How does the money flow? Is that something else that also maybe caught your attention during this process?
I think for me, the biggest thing that caught my attention away from specifics is that there's a general breakdown in trust. So it's this simple. There's something that Mr. Oduak said where that people would rather relate with kidnappers than relate with law enforcement. And we need to interrogate why that is, because that is actually very true. And the answer to that, from at least the superficial answer to that, is trust. Trust has broken down such that people do not trust. So when I was speaking earlier, I gave the example of what happened to the staff of the NUC in Abuja. And I mentioned that the police claimed, and we have so many of these stories, the police claimed that they had rescued the rest of his family and without a ransom paid, only for it to emerge later that actually 30 million naira, which is many, many magnitudes his annual salary, had been gathered to pay. So you have to now question what is the impact of that, not just on the individual concerned or his family, but also on all his colleagues who contributed money for that ransom, because that will have an exponential effect. We don't know how many people contributed to get to the 30 million naira. This is for someone who earns probably about 1.2 million naira per year. We don't know how many people contributed to get to that figure, but all of them. So let us assume an average. Let's for the sake of argument, assume that within his organization, the average wage is 1.5 million naira. What that would mean is that it's 20 people's annual rate salary that was contributed. We know that nobody walks around with their annual salary sitting in their bank account. So you can easily extrapolate that, hey, maybe 10 times that number of people contributed money to get to that figure. That's 200 people. All of those 200 people will know that they contributed money, will know that a ransom was paid, will know that the police were not entirely truthful. That is 200 people who have had their trust pierced. And they will speak to other people. So it becomes an exponential thing. It cascades. I think for me, that is the most significant impact, because it has a cascading macroeconomic effect. The economy ultimately is built on trust. People need to be able to trust, first things first, rule of law, which preserves order. Once you have rule of law and you have order, then you can actually build an economy. But we don't have that. So essentially, the long-term effect of this would be capital flights. And we are seeing another effect, reduced agricultural output. This is something that, again, my organization, as far back as 2015, we're already talking of the violence in the Middle Belt, which included kidnapping at the time, but also massacres. And we said, this is going to affect our food supply. We are seeing that now. We also see school closures. And again, I will go back to that thing. Massive erosion of public trust. It's essentially a vicious cycle of that will only keep going round and round if we don't do what is right.
Well, so let's stay on this issue of eroding of public trust. I know that, technology plays a key role. And you've said that with technology, it looks like we can get this sorted. But when the tech guys or the people at the back end have done their work, because it's very confusing and it's almost literally somebody will say, this is supposed to be common sense, that the kidnappers, they use mobile phones. They make calls to family members, either from their own phones or from the phone of the person they kidnap, until they get what they get. Why is it difficult to be able to get these people, while other lesser things, they are easily traceable? So do you see the point about public trust, where people would rather save their loved ones first before they think of whatever shenanigans of what happens in between, so that they don't lose their loved ones? Good work, that's for you.
Yeah, so, okay, thanks. Yes, so on public trust, it's unfortunate that things are not the way they were when we were growing up, yeah? The crux of the matter for me is that if in 2021, Nigerian telcos lost 1.1 billion to the ban of SIM card sales and registrations, a mere 1 naira figure when you compare to 5 trillion in revenues in 1 year, for instance, yeah? If we nip the bud in the head and we stop sales of new SIM cards, we'll be able to profile SIM card users such that in the future, we'll see a SIM card equal to an NIN number equal to a BVN. Now, what that will do is it will ensure that everybody who is anybody that can afford a phone is available, in the tech space, is a digital citizen. Now, for those in the rural areas, the banks today, the traditional banks, as we have known them to be, have not been overtaken to an extent by POS machines. Yeah. What we need to do to ensure that trust is increased is to ensure that, apart from stopping sales of SIM cards by telcos, we ensure that you only buy a SIM card from a bank or from a POS machine, yeah? Whereupon you are supposed to put in details that will allow you to be traceable. When we achieve this, trust will increase, and the people will have more faith in looking forward to speaking to the security agencies, who are really, really up to their game in sorting these issues out. At the final note, I just want to say that it's sad the way we are right now in the country, security-wise. There's so many issues that we can't discuss in the public media like this. But I pray that the government finds a way to reduce kidnapping to the barest minimum, so that the next generation will not be worse than it currently is.
Because the truth is, they're watching, right? They're watching very well, and they're seeing things playing out. They're looking at the response that this is getting. Let me go over to Mr. Wanze yet again, and I talk about the mass abductions part of this. which sometimes is mind-boggling, hearing that people are kidnapped in their tens and dozens and just led to a certain place. And it's one of the breakdowns you did. You called it Nigeria's epidemic of mass abductions. I also saw the part where you spoke about the divine angle to this, where we've seen not just reverend fathers, but nuns and the rest also being targeted in this whole, sad scenarios. But look at the mass abductions, and I see yet again the Northwest leads with mass abductions. Katsina is second to Zamfara. Zamfara 1,064, Katsina 435, and then we see Kaduna 483. All of the big numbers are in northern Nigeria, also north central. But I see that, first of all, in the Southwest, it is non-existent, literally almost non-existent. Well, there is some in South-South. So I want to ask you, when you look at these figures, what do you think the Southwest is getting right that the Northwest may need to copy in that sense, or the North or the South-South? What is it about Southwest Nigeria, Mr. Wanze?
It's the Southwest of Nigeria is the economic nerve center of the country. One thing that we've been able to establish is that the key driver, and this is something that we were keen to establish in each of the reports. The key driver of the kidnapping industry is generally financial, economic hardship. It's been the key thing in the 2023 report. I think, yeah, that was in 2023. We pointed out that a lot of ransoms were being collected in kind, not in cash. So you had a proliferation of people collecting ransom in terms of the call credits, people collecting ransom as in terms of motorcycles. So that is something that we must look into. It's the economy, stupid, to paraphrase Bill Clinton. At the end of the day, the fact remains, and it's a very unfortunate fact, as long as Nigeria's economy keeps struggling, we're going to keep seeing security incidents all over the place. I think it's important to point out that the definition of a mass abduction is an incident in which 5 or more people were kidnapped. So it's not just when it gets to tens. Once you have 5 people or more kidnapped, then that's a mass abduction.
Certainly. It is shocking enough that you can lead that much people into the bush. But also speak to us about this divine angle, because it caught my attention as well. Clearly, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of planning that goes into this, these acts, but they're also targeting specific people. Is it as a result of the ability to pay, or what do they call it? Is it willingness to pay now? Because they think, okay, once we're able to abduct these categories of people, we are certain that a percentage of what we demand will be paid back. And what kind of attention do we then need to pay to that? Because this is also being interpreted as persecution, right? Particularly for the priests and the rest. What the international community sees this as is persecution, them being targeted because they are followers of Christ.
So I will take exception to your categorization of the whole thing as divine. It's certainly not divine. I would say satanic. But what I would say is that my own personal belief is that the Catholic Church pays ransoms for its priests.
Mr. Wanze, just to be clear, pardon me, if I can come in quickly, just to be clear, that is not my categorization. That's in your report. You describe it as divine abductions, an affair between thieves and the flock shepherd. So that's not my categorization. I quarreled with the editor when I
saw
that is yours. You should quarrel with your team.
I mean, I wanted to put satanic, but the editor overruled me. So basically, it's I believe that the Catholic Church pays ransoms. They don't accept or they don't deny. They just keep it quiet. But there's a reason why. This was a trend we noticed back in 2023, and that trend has continued, even though the absolute numbers appear to have come down. There will be that perception, yes, that it's targeted specifically at Catholic priests. But I think that the key thing there is that Catholic priests probably make a softer target because they don't, they tend to be You tend to find a lot of Catholic priests as missionaries, for example, Dominican fathers or Augustinian fathers in remote places. So it makes them soft targets. That's what I think has happened.
It's a very important conversation. But I must thank you both for coming on the program and sharing your perspective, both from the intelligence element and down to the technology element, because this has to stop just like yesterday. Chetan Wanze is a partner at SBM Intelligence, telecoms expert, member of Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. Who joined us as well is Mr. Uduak Ekbo Ufot, both bringing their perspective to the program and to the issue. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk with somebody who was kidnapped and is now free, just to share his story and how things played out. In just a moment, stay with us.
What is it like to be kidnapped, to be in a kidnapper's den? Uncertainty, definitely. Fear, definitely. But let's speak with someone who's been through that. Spent 50 days in captivity. We're joined on the program by Mr. Idika Ode. He's known as General Ode, a comedian and a kidnapped victim. Good morning, General Ode. You're welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here again.
It is good to have you. We remember on this program, morning after morning, speaking about that incident. You spent 50 days in captivity. You were kidnapped on the waterway, the Oron-Calabar waterway route. Speak to us about that experience, really.
I would say it was a very horrible experience, an unimaginable one that you won't even wish your enemy to be part of. We were just on our way to Calabar on the Oron waterway. Then suddenly we had some gunshots and a big boat collided with ours, and there was this transloading from our boat to their boat, and we're taken to, I think, into the creeks. We didn't know the places, the route, and the rest. So, but we just found ourselves somewhere after about 40 minutes drive, and the ordeal began. So it was a terrible place to be. As a matter of fact, I think I stayed the longest there, 50 days. Others left before me. And it was a result of maybe they thought I was a very big personality, and the fact that I carried my uniforms as a general. You remember the last time I was here, I was fully dressed in my regalia. And this time around, I'll see what that regalia did, and I'm just trying to not to put it on as often as possible. I think those things played out. They thought I was a military personnel, not only me, with my personal assistant, who were part of the 24 persons that were kidnapped on the 18th of April, 2025. His name is Inspector Font. So when they saw our uniforms, they saw Inspector, they saw General, they said, wow, finally we've caught these military men that normally trouble us. And they had to give us some kind of drastic drilling, beating, thinking we were military personnel. But thanks to our phones and our social media handles, after profiling, did profiling for us, and you know, they had to check us. But that was after like a week or two, and I discovered that, okay, these guys are comedians. They are not military personnel. These guys are well structured. They have hierarchy. They have departments. They have media. They have welfare. They have engineers. They have directors. It's a structured organization. They even study the news after an operation to know how what the media is saying, you know, stuff like that. So it was a terrible place. We went through hunger, went through, you know, taste, starvation of all kinds, beating, you know, drilling. But we thank God after 50 days, God saw us through.
You know, listening to your story, it's just difficult to imagine what you had to go through for 50 days. As Kayode said, uncertainty, you're not sure whether you're going to come out of this or you're going to come out alive, come out in one piece. So walk us through some of the things you noticed. Okay, how long were you blindfolded before you got to the destination? When you finally got, what kind of environment was it that they were operating from? The reason why this question is important is that security agencies will say, we know where they are, but because of the civilian element, of course, everybody there is a civilian, because of the victims that have been kidnapped, the persons that have been taken hostage, there's limited amount of force we can use. And we have all these satellites and all this technology. So walk us through what you saw.
Okay, from when they kidnapped us, I think they drove up to 40 minutes into the creek. It was a creek they took us to, and you know these fishing tents or platforms that these kidnappers, these fishermen make. That was the place. It was just like that. We had a platform where we walk on, and just some shade that will protect us from the sun and rain. But those places had holes, so when the rain is falling, you definitely, you know, drop on you, rain will drench you very well. So that's how the place works. And we were not blindfolded. What they did was they never allowed us to raise up our faces anytime they come around. You know, we're 24 of us. You know, we always look down when we see them coming or they are talking to us. We always look down. You are not permitted to look at their faces. The few times some of us raised up our faces to look at them, we were pumped. By pumping, it's like slap. You close your eyes, you pump your jaw, and they just blindfold you with a heavy slap, or they just drill you. They lie you down and drill you with a machete. So they were not allowed to look at their faces. And we discovered that where we were, though the network was not too strong, they were still making calls there. But if they want to make calls for ransom and stuff like that, they take us out to where the network is stronger. And these guys, they play music loud, they shoot guns. The place is like a community, not as if they are even afraid of anything. They just live their lives there. Some have their families there, their children are there, and they just treat us as if we are commodities or just something they bought. So the things we saw there are very, very terrible. Very, very terrible. Those guys are just mean and are just wicked. I wouldn't know what else to call them. But we went through a lot.
I don't know if you're still going through some sort of therapy for PTSD, because that was trauma. I mean, some people cannot stay away from their homes for just one day, maybe in a camp environment, you know, where things are still certain. You have a tent at least, but you don't have your bed, you don't have access to the bathroom and all of that. So one day is a stretch for some people. I mean, some can endure 1 week. In, again, certain circumstances, I mean, there's certainty for camping, but you spend 50 days in that kind of environment, not 1 week, not 2 weeks, 50 days. So I want to imagine that you are going through, you've gone through some sort of therapy to help you with this, because I can't imagine just what you went through for those days. But, you know, we just came off a conversation around, you know, kidnapping for ransom, what is demanded. I was looking through the data, and I saw for Akwa Ibom and Cross River, because I understand that there's a dispute as to where this kidnapping happened. Is it in Akwa Ibom or Cross River? But there are incidents time and again, kidnapping incidents, and monies demanded. So what was your own ransom process like? What was demanded, if you're able to share, and what was paid?
Oh, what was demanded at first was 100 million. And when they mentioned the 100 million, I was like, if if my family has 100 million, let's take care of themselves. Let me just be here. They demanded 100 million. Then at some point they brought it to 80 million, and they were still dragging the whole thing. It was when I came out, I now discovered that because my own case, I was not, they were not allowing me to contact my family as often as others. I think I spoke to my wife just twice, 1 week into the kidnappers then, and the week I was about to be released. In fact, the day we were about to be released, that was when I spoke with them. And there was this fear if I was dead, if they killed me, because there was no communication. These guys just put me by the side and demanding for this money. But it was when I came out and I discovered, oh, they had paid some amount of money. I think they made 2 installments. The first one was, I think, 3-point-something million. And then when that was paid, they didn't release me. They still told my family that they needed more. And then they had to look for more money to add up, and the total amount was close to 8 million naira, plus the monies that, some security agencies collected for tracking of the phone number. At some point, I think the first ransom, my family was working with the security agencies to see how I can be released. But the kidnappers told them that because you are involved with these security agencies, you are going to pay more involving yourself with them. So that is how the second demand now came, that say they use the other one for feeding, for medication, for where, in fact, they didn't do that to us. We're not treated, we're not fed very well. In fact, we ate once a week. The rest of the days, you look for water, salt water, you drink water in their diesel rubber, fuel rubber, you drink just to quench thirst, stuff like that. They give you a little cup of gari for over maybe 12 people or 8 people. We take gari in spoons. If you take 5 spoons, you're okay, because that's the amount that can go around. So when they said they were feeding us, that's where the first money went. I was like, they didn't give us anything. I came back looking, worn out, skinny, and all those. So they paid close to 8 million, and it was paid twice. So that was what happened.
My brother, I must say, grateful that you're alive, you're handling it so well. I imagine you have a lot of, just on the lighter note, you have a lot of materials now for your sets. I don't know if you have something.
Plenty materials, materials full everywhere.
And honestly, I don't know when your next show is.
Some people don't know that.
So, go ahead, please.
Hello? As it is now, some people don't know that I'm now a senior citizen and member of the Nigerian Society of Kidnapping. So I am working hard to gather people's experiences. And I used to tell people that I'm a soldier, I'm the officer that joined the force by force. But currently, I'm the officer that was trained by kidnappers by force.
I love your spirit in spite of what you went through. And I think that this should be something bigger for you. I don't know when your next show is, but it has to be sold out. It has to be across even cities and hopefully countries. Because what you went through, nobody should go through it. But again, you're able to turn that sad experience into something good. Yeah. General Ode, thank you for your time. We could go on and on with this conversation, but we're grateful that you're able to speak with us on this, and wish you the very best. We hope to have you again sometime soon, speak about your craft and celebrate you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
So that's a chilling experience from a kidnapped victim. We take a break now, and when we return, we'll turn our attention to Imo State, where the minimum wage has been increased. Oh yes, that's the moment. Stay with us.
Civil servants in Imo State are excited. The reason is because the governor has increased their minimum wage. beyond literally every other state in Nigeria, over 100,000, I think 104,000 naira as the new minimum wage. So that's why we invited them to come on the program and just have a chat with us. We're being joined on the program by the Chief Press Secretary and Media Advisor to Governor Hope Uzodimma, Mr. Oguwike Nwachukwu. Mr. Nwachukwu, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you so very much. Geoffrey, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. So let's break this down. This arouses curiosity. If Governor Hope Uzodimma was seeking re-election, would have said, okay, this is part of the politics to win civil servants, but he's not seeking re-election in that sense. And Imo is not such a wealthy state, like the Lagos, like the Abuja, FCT, like River State. I've looked at the numbers that Imo does in terms of its fiscal performance. So what's the rationale behind these amounts? Because I'm asking based on question around, congratulations first, but we're talking sustainability.
Well, if I heard you properly, the rationale behind what the governor did 2 days ago is nothing other than to ensure that the workers in Imo State, the civil servants in Imo State, are given a welfare, that will enable them live a life of dignity, and then be in a position also to discharge their responsibility to government for the purpose of a better Imo State.
So I was asking with reference to, it's not just about increasing wage bill, or sorry, minimum wage. It's about sustaining minimum wage. We know what has happened with 30,000 up to when it was increased.
Can you speak up? I'm not hearing you properly.
Perhaps, I don't know whether it's a network where you are. Can you hear me now? I'm literally screaming.
I'm hearing you faintly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, faintly, yeah, go ahead.
I was saying that the question around, it's great to be ambitious about, as I said, I don't think any state is paying above 100,000 naira as minimum wage. Not even Lagos, that generates its IGR over 500 billion a year. Imo does something in the neighborhood of maybe 20. In fact, you put the entire money that Imo, for instance, let me use 2023, for instance. I don't think all the monies that came to Imo State from FAC and IGR exceeded maybe 200 or 300 billion naira. So that's why it arouses curiosity as to what is beyond the fact that workers deserve a dignified wage. Let's talk about sustainability, because we have a history of indebtedness across states when it comes to minimum wage. So can the government sustain this, and how?
Thank you very much. I think that had already been explained by the government and the governor when he was rolling out this new wage bill, the benchmark. He did say, that sustaining it is not an issue, but it's something that requires every hand to be on deck. Don't forget, when minimum wage was 18,000, we came and started paying 30,000, when some states were still paying 18,000. When some states were still paying 18,000, I couldn't even pay 80,000. The governor, distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma, jacked the minimum wage of Imo workers to 40,000. He suspended the payment. Now, from 40,000 to 70,000, his government still suspended the payment. And I want to assure you that 104,000 that he just announced, will also be sustained, because all the indices to ensure that the sustenance is there. They are in place. They are in place. For instance, the IGR of the states, from what it was in 2020 when he came on board, is not what it is today. And every day efforts are being made to ensure that the IGR of the state is enhanced in such a way that everybody will be happy, not just the civil servants, but also the entire Imo people, including those who are not civil servants. It's just about creating an enabling environment, ensuring that the right infrastructure are in place, both human and material infrastructure. And that's what we're doing. I'm sure you're aware of what is going on in the digital economy and e-government, what the governor is doing in terms of equipping the youth with digital skill. These are the things we are talking about. So it's not just about what we get from the federation account. It's about how the governor is equipping, the youth of the state to take their destiny in their hand and to be as productive as they can. Yeah. So, and beyond that, you're also aware of what he has done in the area of fiscal infrastructure. The roads have been given a complete facelift. All the roads in the Imo State, the major roads, you're aware of that. So these are the things actually that will enhance economic growth. And that's the expectation of Imo State. And as regards sustaining it, yes, we will sustain it. The governor will sustain it. It's not politics. It has nothing to do with politics. It has a lot to do with the Imo of our future.
All right. So quick questions. One, when will the workers receive this payment, the first payment of 104,000 naira? When will they begin to receive this? When will the money start entering their account, the account of the workers?
I didn't hear you.
I said that when will the workers begin to receive this money, like in their accounts, beyond when it's implemented?
Of course, you know that the government has long, optimized its mode of payment of this. They receive it is by alert. I am sure by the end of the month, it will be the civil servant that will tell you that they have received it. It's a seamless exercise. It's a seamless exercise.
So by the end of August or September?
We've been on this since 2020, and I can assure you that sustainability is not an issue.
Sure. So do you mean
is not an issue?
I know.
Be an issue at all.
I know. Do you mean by the end of August or by the end of September?
Hello?
Do you mean by the end of August or by the end of September?
You mean when the process will start?
Yes, when they will receive it.
Yeah. It's almost immediate. It's almost immediate. The relevant offices have been asked to, put in place the processes, and I assure you, it's almost going to be immediate.
So does that mean August or September?
Let's look at September. Let's look at September.
Secondly, would there be consequential adjustment for others?
Yes. That's what it is. It's a comprehensive salary structure that captures all the segments, consolidated medical salary structure, or what we call CONMES, consolidated health salary structure, CONHES, consolidated university academic salary structure, consolidated tertiary institutions salary structure, consolidated polytechnic and college of education salary structure, consolidated tertiary educational institution salary structure, and of course, the non-academic staff in tertiary institutions, harmonized public service, or what we call HABs. So it's all encompassing. All encompassing.
All right, Mr. Agunwike, we don't have so much time anymore without taking more questions, but just a question of sustainability so that it doesn't become a problem for perhaps the next administration, because a lot has to be done with the IGR of Imo State. As far as the numbers, I like to speak clearly with numbers, because that is how you guarantee sustainability. So since he became governor, in closing, excuse me, how much of foreign direct investment has been attracted to Imo State?
Well, I know that if you are talking about foreign direct investment, we have attracted a lot through partnership with development partners, through World Bank, through sectors, and all relationship with development partners. For instance, in the area of budgeting, we have, attracted a lot of money based on our process of budgeting and ensuring that the state meets the target, the international target. And this was not happening before. And it's been consistent, You know, we don't have, if we had enough time, you know, we would have told you exactly. But it's not in terms of, it's not for me to say it is 20 billion, it is 100 billion over the year, but it's something that happens every year. You know, and we have done a lot to deepen the relationship. So going forward, you know, even if the governor leaves office, or rather by the time he leaves office, he would have laid a very solid foundation for whoever is coming after him to continue to reap the benefit of that foundation he had laid. But don't also forget that when he came on board, you know, what we had as an internally generated revenue, IGR, was just 400 million. So as we speak today, you know, we're talking about between 3 billion and 4 billion, and it's still growing. So there's no fear. It's not politics. Let anybody who is thinking that this is politics, the person, you know, should think again, because the governor has laid enough foundation.
We're totally out of time.
Enough foundation.
We're totally out of time, Mr. Oguwike.
Economically and otherwise.
Okay, I think the numbers. What year did he come on board? Just give me that reference.
Hello?
What year did he come on board?
Hello?
Oh, yeah. All right. I wanted to check with you with the numbers because I think some numbers you're quoting may not be entirely correct. Mr. Oguwike, Nwachukwu is the Chief Press Secretary and Media Advisor to the Governor of Imo State. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program. We appreciate it.
Thank you so very much, Kayode and Geoffrey. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break. When we come back after this break, we'll be talking to, you know, persons in the creative sector about life after fame. Join us again.
So let's talk about life of a creative, life before, during, if there's anything like after fame. And we're joined right now by Olawale Ojo, ex-reality show winner. He's right there with us in our Lagos studio. Good morning, Olawale.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
I mean, in 2013, for a lot of people who love reality shows, they remember cheering you on when you won the MTN Project Fame then, and it was like, yeah, we found the latest star, big star. I mean, your vocals, your presence, your performance was a big deal. Mm-hmm. And what caught my attention and our attention on the show was a post you put up, I think, on August the 14th. Okay. You put up a post, and a lot of people were wondering, what's going on, Olawale? But first, speak to us about life after fame. I mean, that big moment. How have you been able to either keep the momentum, keep your creativity, churn out works after that big break? Okay, so first of all, there's a bit of a conundrum here, because while I was in the house, I didn't really have an idea of how people perceived me, because I was, you know, inside the old thing. So, but people outside, that's why even till now, I go out and I see people that know me, but I don't know them and stuff like that. So the idea of fame itself was not really like, it took me some time to be able to adjust to it, because in my mind, I'm still that normal guy. The everyday guy, right? Yeah, so, but I just started noticing that people started treating me differently, and, you know, sometimes maybe my friends, I would probably want to go to the market to buy stuff. I'd be like, no, you can't do this, so just sit down in the car, let me go and buy it for you. So all those kind of things just started. So for me, I'm that kind of guy that I do business and stuff like that. I'm just a normal. So, but when that happened, it kind of opened me up to a different, you know, level or a different dimension of life entirely. So it has its perks and it has its advantages too. But mostly, I would say that, yeah, it is what it is. And, you know, these things, there are levels to it. In my opinion, I feel like Project Fame has a very big audience. As at that time, they had a very big audience, but there were still a lot of people that I would probably just walk into their office and they'd be like, oh, I don't watch TV, I don't know you. Oh, of course. I mean, not everybody watches TV. Do you understand? So I want to show our audience that post you put up, which got a lot of people talking. And So this was on August the 14th. So you do a lot of production, right? I just share your time in the studio with people. And this is the post you put up, this video that you put up. And, you know, on that post you said, "Dear son, today might be my last day on this earth. I've made peace with it. My life has been a journey full of wrong turns, hard lessons, and a few right choices. Being your father will always be the very choice, or the very best choice I've ever made." And you went on and on. So it was like a letter to your son, right?
Yes.
And you also you've done a lot of music and all of it. But what caught a lot of people's attention was that first line. And they were thinking, we hope Olawale is fine.
Yes.
Is he going through some very tough time right now? I've heard a lot of people say, how can we help you? So speak to us about what exactly was going on at that time for you.
Okay, so that was a moment for me. Like, it was more like a cathartic moment for me. I just like 1 minute I think it started much like I put my phone on my chair, I mean my tab on the chair in the studio, and I wanted to just make a video, like a memoir. And while I was doing that, all of a sudden, I just got this, you know, feeling of, guy, why are you doing this? Why can't you just wait and, you know, script everything? And I just started coming up with different excuses that would later prevent me from doing it. So I got to that place where I just got tired of, you know, of those excuses. That was what, like, informed the thing I posted. You know, there's a part in the Bible that says, live every day like it's your last. And I thought about it, that if someone told me right now that today, like in the next 24 hours, is going to be my last day on earth, what would be my concern the most? Am I going to be concerned about people seeing me in, quote unquote, a not too packaged way? Or is it like all those things that I felt were like limitations? If I truly were, if that day was going to be like my last day, would I be concerned about those things, or be concerned more about what I wanted to share? So because if you listen to the video I made, aside the post, you know, you would see that that was one of the things I was trying to communicate. And people that are close to me, they were not worried, because they know that the kind of conversations I have, I'm very, very like direct realist, you understand? Yeah. So my ideology about life is always from a perspective of, don't think too much of yourself, like, and but that day it was more like a snake shedding its skin. Me doing that, it just started like a chain of events in my mind. And all the songs that I've recorded songs to the extent that I'll record them, mix them, master them. And when it gets to putting them out, I'll just be like, oh, I can do better than this. Let me do something better. So, you know, it keeps building up. But from that day, after that day happened, something I had never done before, you know, just playing songs randomly for people from my studio. I started doing it. And some of the best songs I've actually created, I've been able to finish them, and giving myself a set date, September, I'm going to drop my, you know, EP. And in my mind, I'm like, this is it. This is what I've always wanted to do. Because for me, the music has never been for the fame or for the... I started writing music before I even stepped into the studio booth, you understand? It was after Project Fame was the first time I even entered the studio booth. So for me, music to me, I never had a dream of becoming a superstar. That, unlike people who say that, people that say that they like, they've been like that. For me, I just wanted to be like a businessman, but I was really obsessed with music, especially when I was in my university.
Okay, because so for clarity, it wasn't a suicide note.
No, it wasn't.
So because that's the first line is very alarming. It raises concern for everybody who reads it. I'm happy you're a realist. So now that you've dovetailed into what you said,
okay.
One of my only questions would be, how have you been able to manage the expectation that people had of you vis-a-vis you just being a regular guy. You just want to be your regular guy, but fame came or fame found you. Do you sometimes have a conflict of personality in being able to manage that, or you've gone through and past that? Because the reason I'm asking is because popular people that are faces on TV or radio or just popular generally, even politicians who in power, the mistake is always to get their validation from, you know, fame, being there. So you get my drift?
Yes. So, like I said, for me, it has been really like difficult to do a total like overhauling of my true self and just put on that garment of you know, fame, so person. So in my mind, I still know that what matters most is how I see myself when no other person is there. So even when I get into spaces where people try to, you know, make me feel like I'm special, I'm this and that, in my mind, I just know that this is not real. These people don't know. Music is just an extension of me. That's not all about me. They don't know everything about me. So right now, the music is what is making them act like this, you understand? So I put that at the back of my mind, and I try as much as possible to, I'm drawn to the least respected people around where I'm at. And for me, that has always been my, I don't know why, but I get very irritated when people, because I've had instances, for example, that people would come to me, or my manager as at then would probably introduce me to people and be like, oh, meet Olawale. The person might just be like, okay, he's the project film winner. Instantly, you see, it was like, it would just be like that person just came alive just because of that title. So I've seen that happen. Oh, really? Wow. I'm like,
what changed?
What changed? You understand?
I just want to ask you, are you struggling right now?
We all struggle. We all struggle. And I don't think life itself will be worth living if there's nothing to look forward to. Most times people feel like it's just maybe when you are broke or when you don't have money. Money is just one of those things, because anybody can
more to life.
Anybody can make money. Do you understand? But for me, the past couple of years has helped me, you know, see myself in a very, because I recently got married too. So
congratulations to you.
Yeah, thank you.
And your lovely wife.
Thank you. So I really, like, I was able to really introspect because I'm an introvert, so, and I started to see that, guy, it's not just about the external, you know, things that people see. Mostly, it's more about your psyche, your experience, how you experience life.
I think from this conversation, people will know that you're such a deep person. I mean, you shared your struggles. So we're expecting your EP in September.
Yeah. 17.
What is it called?
No, let me keep that.
So September, Olawale's EP is out. He has such a fantastic voice. He writes so well, and we're glad that you're doing great. So thank you so much for coming to share your gift and creativity.
My pleasure.
With us.
My pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
So that's Olawale Ojo, winner MTN Project Fame 2013.
Yes.
See, we didn't have to light up. We always know that you're a star. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Well, just before we go, the weather is acting on me. Anyway, but just before we go, let's bring you an update. The president is back from Brazil. He had a two-nation tour. He was in Yokohama. From there, he headed to Brazil, and now he's back. So you can see dignitaries, top officials of government, members of FEC. I still don't agree and don't understand this thing. When the president is traveling or coming back, governors will leave their states. Executive members will leave their work and come and be welcoming the governor.
He's the president.
No. Where else do you see it happen?
Welcome to Nigeria. He arrived at 1:20 a.m. So welcome to Nigeria on both levels. The president, welcome to Nigeria.
We should stop this thing. It doesn't change the fact that he's the most powerful man in the country. Anyway, it's the way we do it here, but it doesn't. I don't see anything. Everybody should go and face their work. The president is doing his work. All right. That's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Ozama. Bye-bye.
I'm Kayode Okikilu. Don't forget to look out for Olawale and follow him on social media as well. Sunrise Daily is next. I'm Kayode Okikilu again. Goodbye.